From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your evening update.
Well, we all know Weather NorCal is a great resource for weather, right? But there's also a great resource for the Ag Report. If you want to learn more about agriculture in the area, just go to weathernorcal.com, click on the Ag Report section, and you can actually watch all of the episodes that are available. And you can also access it from the free Weather NorCal app. Just go to the NorCal Ad section and you'll be good to go. All right, so we've got weaker winds for tomorrow afternoon. They're still going to be pretty strong later this evening, tonight, and even early tomorrow morning, but they should subside throughout the day tomorrow. The warming trend starts tomorrow, and I do expect temperatures to be back to around 90 in the valley, and then they'll continue to climb. Also, a slight chance for some mountain showers and thunderstorms, which we'll take a closer look at Futurecast here in a second, but I do expect, for the most part, mainly dry conditions in the long range. Taking a look at your neighborhood forecast for tomorrow, it's warming back up. Instead of those 80s we've seen the last few days, back to 90, and then back into the 70s and 80s for the higher elevations, and as I mentioned, those chances for showers and thunderstorms for some of the higher elevations. Now, we still have a red flag warning in effect until 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. The two main reasons, gusty winds will continue tonight into tomorrow morning, and not to mention the low relative humidity. All right, so let's take a look at those elements. You'll notice as we go into tomorrow morning, still those gusty north winds, which is why we have the high fire danger. As we go into the afternoon, though, look at the winds. They're beginning to die down. Still a little breezy, but not in that advisory criteria when we're talking about fire danger. We take you into your Wednesday morning, Wednesday afternoon, still looking at calmer winds. Yes, it'll be a little breezy at times, but certainly not the windy event that we've seen over the last few days. Humidity, even though the red flag warning will expire 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, it's still going to be very dry out there. But again, the key is the fact that the winds won't be as strong because we're still looking at very dry conditions, even taking you into your Wednesday afternoon as well. So that's something we got to watch closely. Now, when we look at the fire weather risk, this includes the temperatures, this includes the winds, and of course the relative humidity. So we look at tomorrow, we're looking at mainly, see the yellows in there? That's just indicating that we're in that moderate, close to high range. We take you into your Wednesday, same situation. We're looking at mainly yellows in there, indicating the moderate range. So the fire danger is decreasing. Now, the reason that we've seen such gusty winds over the last few days is because of this right here. This is what we call an inside slider. It's an area of low pressure. And as it moves to the south and east, we see those winds really begin to pick up. And we saw that the last few days. But it's also responsible for those beautiful, more mild temperatures we've been experiencing the last few days as it's got cooler air associated with it. Look what's happening as we go through the rest of the week. You see how it's pushing off to the north and east. Now, here's what's happening. That's moving on out, right? So Wednesday, that's way off to the north and east of us. But we've got another area of low pressure and cooler air to our west. Now, what's happening is we still have a trough of low pressure in place. You see, this is what we call a trough of low pressure, but the cooler air is still up to our north. That cooler air having a hard time really sinking down. Here's the thing. We got another bubble of heat, big bubble of heat off to our west, and not to mention off to our east. As long as those stay out of our region, we'll be okay. And what's going to help to prevent that from happening are more storm systems. And I've been talking about this the last few weeks, right? We just continue to see these cold storm systems riding to our north, preventing the heat to our south from building in and getting as hot as we could. Now, granted, we're at that time of the year where even when we just get some of that heat moving in our area, it gets hot. 100, 105 degrees, right? Certainly not out of the question here as we go in later in the week and into the weekend, and not to mention early next week. But again, these storm systems, this one here, these are all coming in, flattening out the ridge of high pressure, preventing it from getting as hot as it could. All right, so again, it's still going to get hot. You can clearly see that as we look at that trend here. It's going to peak over the weekend, and we'll see a slight dip going into early next week. That's the same trend for the mountains. Temperatures will be well above normal, but for the coast, all right, temperatures around normal. Temperatures there should be in the low 60s. All right, so as you go into tomorrow, here's what's happening. There's tomorrow morning, maybe a little bit of fog around Eureka, otherwise mainly clear skies to start off the day. Look at this though, we're actually seeing the potential. Now, what we're mainly going to see here for Siskiyou, Modoc, and the eastern mountains is some afternoon cumulus clouds. However, Futurecast, which has done a pretty good job here lately, is indicating that we could see a stray shower, maybe even an isolated thunderstorm for parts of the mountains tomorrow afternoon. Should we count on it? I'd say no, but don't be surprised if you live in any of these areas: Siskiyou, Modoc, Lassen, Plumas, and even the mountains of Shasta, eastern Shasta, and eastern Tehama County as well. But it's not going to amount to much. We go into your Wednesday morning, that is, we're actually starting to see that marine layer begin to make its way back for many parts of the coast. We actually may see some more of the low clouds and fog to start off the day. Maybe hard for it to completely burn off, but we're also not seeing much in the way of showers developing for the mountains again, just those afternoon clouds. So bottom line, yeah, not a lot of rain in the forecast. So we look at our wave heights, they're actually starting to show signs, that is, tomorrow afternoon, of kind of getting weaker, not as high. And that'll probably be the case here going into your Wednesday. So with all that said, we actually still have a small credit advisory through 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. We'll see if that gets extended into tomorrow, but most likely, based on the fact that the wave heights are starting to drop tomorrow, we may see that small credit advisory get lifted. All right, let's take a look at your forecast tonight. Look at that. Upper 50s to low 60s in the valley. Beautiful. Great start to the morning. We're getting to that freezing point for some of us in the higher elevations too. It's getting cold in the higher elevations overnight. And then for tomorrow, it's warming back up. We're seeing temperatures get warmer too, especially by the time you get to the end of the week. Even places like Weaverville, Hayfork, you could get into the triple digits by Thursday or Friday. For the North Coast, taking to central and southern Humboldt County, temperatures just staying in the low 60s for the next 7 days. But places like Garberville tomorrow, around 80 degrees, as well as Alder Point, 66 degrees out in Blue Lake. Let's take you up to the north, and for the inland areas, also seeing that increase in the temperatures. Back in the 90s by the time we get into Friday and Saturday, and really just kind of upper 80s, low 90s by Sunday, Monday of next week. Your Siskiyou County neighborhood forecast, temperatures mainly in the 70s. There you can see that slight chance for showers I was mentioning for tomorrow. Don't count on much, if anything. That could also even mean an isolated thunderstorm as well, but it will be very brief and few and far between, but mainly dry tomorrow for all of the mountains, including Siskiyou, Modoc, and the eastern mountains here. 77 degrees for Susanville tomorrow. There you can see that chance I was mentioning on Tuesday, getting back up in the low to even upper 90s by the time we get into your Saturday. Let's take a look at your forecast for the valley, your valley neighborhood forecast brought to you by NorCal Tractor. Temperatures, they're getting warmer, straying away from the 80s, although some of us may just dodge that 90-degree mark here for tomorrow, especially to the south, but otherwise mainly around 90, give or take, for the valley, with those temperatures increasing. In fact, you can see that a little bit more clearly looking at your 7-day outlook for Redding. So the first day of summer, the summer solstice, will occur on Thursday. All right, so that'll be the hot when we start to see those temperatures get back to about 100 degrees, over 100 degrees for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You'll notice maybe a slight dip early next week, but looks like it should stay hot.
At Cottonwood Small Animal Clinic and Cottonwood Veterinary Clinic, we're here to provide the best possible care for your patients. We understand that your pet is your family member, and when your family member is sick, they need urgent help.
All our staff is so passionate about the care that goes into all your little creatures. Making relationships with pet parents here in Cottonwood is the greatest feeling in the world. Come find us off the Gas Point exit here in the heart of Cottonwood.